Is it a Bones Day? No Bones Day? I don't know. But it is a basketball day here. We're going to talk about the additions, subtractions, and an overview of the Florida Gators men's basketball team, only here on Locked On Gators.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline is where the game starts. Happy Thursday. I'm Brandon Olson. You can find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. You can find all my written work with Whole Nine Sports. Before getting into today's content, just going to ask y'all subscribe wherever you're listening, leave a comment or review, and let me know what you think of the show, how I can make it better, how I can improve it. It's greatly appreciated. Getting into today's content, though, we're going to talk about the additions, and here I'm talking about addition by retention as well, because last season, Florida brought in, how do I put this lightly, a lot of transfers. And we've got some of those guys coming back. We've got Myron Jones, the wildly inconsistent, streaky shooting guard. He's coming back. He's probably going to be playing more of a two guard or a bench role here because I don't think that Todd Golden is really going to appreciate the wild inefficiency when it comes to taking care of the basketball. We've got CJ Felder coming in. He played sporadically under Mike White. I'd expect him to play much more under Todd Golden. I think that Todd Golden is going to do a better job of getting his players in position to succeed. And that's kind of the main thing I'm talking about later on is just Todd Golden. I think he's going to do a much better job of just maximizing the talent available, not going, well, this is what we're doing. If you don't fit, you don't fit. He's going to add players that do fit the system, and that's how he's going to get success from them. But the biggest news, the biggest return for the Florida Gators, of course, is our superstar, Colin Castleton, the big man transfer from Michigan. He is, the leading scorer, the leading rebounder. He is the leading everything for the Florida Gators this past season, and he has been an absolute animal in Gainesville, defensively protecting the paint, contesting shots, whether it's actually blocking them or just contesting them and making offensive players adjust their shot. Colin Castleton has been the lifeblood of this team. But then looking at high school right now, that's incredibly dry. We'll talk about that in the second segment, why it's dry like that. But Denzel Aberdeen, at the time of recording this on Wednesday afternoon, is the only high school commit for the Florida Gators right now under Todd Golden. Denzel Aberdeen, of course, was here with Mike White. There were two other players, which we will talk about later. But Denzel Aberdeen is kind of a combo guard, and he's probably going to be thrust into early playing time, I'd say, with this Todd Golden offense, or this Todd Golden team. I'm used to saying offense because ball carrier, and we talk about football so much here. But this Todd Golden team, Denzel Aberdeen is probably going to be thrown into the mix a little early. And I've gone through this before where by the terms of Todd Golden's analytic preferences, I guess, Denzel Aberdeen is a sound fit for the Florida Gators. He can shoot, he can slash, he can pass the ball. He's a solid defender on ball, at least. I'm curious to see what his role will be early on because, again, the Florida Gators, there's a lot of players here. There's a lot of experienced players here. There's not as much turnover as we were initially expecting. I mean, primarily, you could talk about Colin Castleton as someone that we all thought was gone, but not the case. And Colin Castleton, I've said, is someone that I really, really, really want to see him work on his jump shot. Again, even if you could just become serviceable, that's better than what you've been. So I'd hope for that. Denzel Aberdeen, again, the only high school commit right now. I'd expect us to add at least one or two more to Florida by the time the season rolls around. But for now, Denzel Aberdeen's our guy, and that's fine. Denzel Aberdeen's someone I like. I like another guy that we're going to talk about, but that's fine as well. And looking at transfers, Florida's got 3 transfers coming in. Alex Fudge, the forward from LSU, big name, 4-star recruit. He's someone that, the LSU lost pretty much everybody this year. After this past season, LSU just lost everyone. LSU had what happened to Florida last year, where everybody's like, yeah, no, Deuce is fine. And that's the exact same thing that happened with LSU this year. And Alex Fudge is one of the guys that did come over. He's not the one that I thought would, but he's the one that did. I'm happy with it. I think Florida could just add talent anywhere, because I think you've got one player one player whose role is set in stone, and that is Colin Castleton as a starting big. You got Kowacie Reeves will likely be a starting two guard. Niles Lane will likely be a starting forward, but nothing is set in stone. Like I said, like Kowacie Reeves, he went off towards the end of last year, but I mean, playing time was sporadic. We don't know how he'll be doing over a more consistent schedule, so we're not too sure about that. Trey Bonham, the guard from VMI, is coming in Florida. Todd Golden got their point guard, because that's an important thing here. But again, this is going to be a Todd Golden offense where a lot of guys are going to be distributing the ball. A lot of guys are going to be handling the ball and in charge of kind of keeping this offense moving and flowing properly. So that's going to be a big thing for Florida, but at least we've got Trey Bonham in. And then Will Richard is the first commit for Todd Golden. He came in as a transfer, and he's someone that we are going to be very excited for. I can't wait to see just how exactly he's going to work in this offense. I think he's a solid fit. We're going to see a lot of Princeton offense style thing, and I think we're going to see that happen consistently with Will Richard, and I think he's going to find success in it. He's got a little bit of experience there already, so I'm excited to see how exactly he fits. But again, right now, the only thing etched in stone here is Colin Castleton starting. Later on, I'll maybe give a little prediction third segment. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but we'll see. And just know I'm excited for all the additions, whether it's addition by addition or addition by retention. I don't believe in addition by subtraction, really. But we're going to talk about the actual subtractions from the Florida Gator basketball team. But first, we'll talk to you guys about Athletic Greens, because our next partner has a product that I use literally every day. I started taking Athletic Greens because while I've been trying to eat healthier, it's hard to eat healthy, work out, and still get all the vitamins and nutrients needed while also working all day, especially during draft season. It's all day, all night, not enough hours in the day. Right now, though, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition, especially heading into the flu and cold season. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day, and that is it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/college. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/college to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts. Talking about the subtraction from the Florida Gators basketball team. And I'm starting with high school here. Malik Renault is the first guy that we're going to talk about. He decommitted a long time ago, pretty much once Mike White was gone and Todd Golden came in. Malik Renault was like deuces, which again, like I've said this, I'm fine with. Malik Renault is now committed to Indiana, by the way. But I'm fine with it. I didn't really think he was a good fit for Todd Golden's offense. And I spoke about this either before he decommitted or the day after he decommitted. We talked about it on Locked On Gators, where I was saying, I don't think he fits what Todd Golden wants to do. Just his skill set, his analytics, his measurements there. I don't think he really fits what Todd Golden is looking for. So I'm fine with him leaving. That's not a big thing for me. What I was excited for was Jaylen Reid, who he was committed to the Florida Gators with Mike White. And then this past weekend, he reopened his commitment. He did say that he is not closing the door on Florida. So maybe he shouldn't be in the subtractions area. But guess what? He's certainly not an addition at this point. So sure. So Jaylen Reid reopened his commitment, stretch 4 kind of player. I liked what he could have done because he's that stretch 4 type. I think he'd be big for spacing, because that is something that Todd Golden really, really, really wants to focus on. Because I've said this a million times on this show by now since Todd Golden was hired. I say this when I go to the park and play basketball, even though I'm just bad. The most efficient shots are around the rim 2s and catch and shoot 3s. So when I play basketball now, I'm like, all right, I'm spotting up and I'm just waiting, or I'm trying to get to the paint. I still miss them all. It's the most efficient shots still, but I'm not efficient with them at all. But Jaylen Reid has reopened his commitment. So that was the big high school ad that I thought had a better chance of contributing early on than Denzel Aberdeen. But of course, that was even before Colin Castleton announced that he was coming back. So maybe Jaylen Reid was like, you know what? I thought Colin Castleton wasn't going to be here, and now I'm not going to get as much playing time, so he left. Or maybe he was just like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't just keep my eggs in this new basket of Todd Golden, and I should look elsewhere. Either way, no hard feelings with a decommit. That's not something that bothers me. He reopened his commitment. Like I said, he has not closed the door on Florida, so it's still a possibility that he comes to Gainesville. So no harm, no foul. Even if he doesn't come to Gainesville, no harm, no foul still. Tyree Appleby is someone that we're going to talk about who's gone now. We've also got Twongchek Gatkek. Also gone. Both of them have entered the transfer portal. Tyree Appleby is gone. He said bye-bye, which again I'm fine with. He was actually surprisingly a solid fit for Todd Golden analytically. I don't know if he would have been a preferred starter for Todd Golden, I'll say, because Todd Golden, while I've said, the most efficient shots are around the rim twos and catch and shoot threes, one thing that Todd Golden really hates is when someone takes contested threes or off the dribble threes. And let me tell you, there are few people who love anything more than Tyree Appleby loves a contested off the dribble three. And he's pretty good at them. I'll give him the credit. He's pretty good at them. They are just I guess would be objectively a bad shot. They're objectively an inefficient shot. He's good at them compared to others, but that doesn't mean they're efficient. So Tyree Appleby's favorite shot is something where Todd Golden's going to go, hey, stop doing that. So that's one of the reasons I think Tyree Appleby entered the portal. I also think that, Florida's just not a good fit for Tyree Appleby, I guess. Fans, if you struggle, we'll let you hear it no matter how you feel about it, no matter how I feel about it. If you're a struggling Florida Gator, fans will almost always let you hear about it. So Tyree Appleby was one of the streakiest players in college basketball last year, so he's going to hear it. Gatkek didn't really play much. He was kind of a bench warmer type. Kind of got more playing time as injuries happened, like Jason Chitobo and Colin Castleton, but he never really found himself playing consistently for the Florida Gators, and I think he's just looking for somewhere where he will get to play there. I don't think that he was a bad fit for a Todd Golden team. I think that he's actually a pretty solid fit, and him getting to learn under someone like Colin Castleton who could work in the post, I think it's big when you have the length of Gatkek. I kind of wish he stayed, but again, it's not like we lost a starter there. We did lose a very valuable player, though, to the NBA draft, and Anthony Duruji. Anthony Duruji declared for the NBA draft a couple of weeks ago. He did say he was hiring an agent and foregoing his NCAA eligibility, but that's not true because now with NIL, as long as your agent is certified, you can hire an agent and just stay in college. However, I don't think Anthony Duruji will come back to Florida. I said this when he declared for the draft. I said Anthony Duruji is someone that, yes, declared for the draft and said he was foregoing his eligibility, and that's technically incorrect. But I don't think that he would be coming back to Florida if he does decide to come back to school, which I think he might. But also Anthony Duruji is the type where I feel like he's more likely to go play in Europe or anywhere overseas. I'm not going to limit him to Europe, but anywhere overseas than he is to go to college, come back to college, or than he is to go to the NBA. I don't think Anthony Duruji is someone that the NBA is really looking at and going, we love this guy. I think he's a very good college player, but yeah, he's just not the modern day NBA forward. And again, he's kind of small, so he's a small forward size in the NBA. Maybe a big power forward, or maybe a power forward when you go small ball. But Anthony Duruji, not really a fit in the modern day NBA. Not really someone that NBA teams must be loving. But again, overseas, he could be that dude. Like we've seen that happen with Florida Gators, where the NBA doesn't love them, and then they go overseas and they find success. You could look at Nick Calathis. You could look at Scotty Wilbekin was an NBL MVP, I believe the league's NBL, National Basketball League in Australia. So he's the NBL MVP. Nick Calathis is over in Europe. I believe he's on Barcelona right now. Obviously, the basketball team, not the soccer team. Patrick Young went to Turkey. We saw a whole bunch of guys move elsewhere and find success there. But again, I don't think Anthony DeRucci is really an NBA guy right now. But hey, I've been horribly wrong before, and I will be horribly wrong again. I didn't think Dorian Finney-Smith would be the Gator that found success from that 2014 team, but hey, here we are, and that's what happened. Great for him. But we are going to talk about a total overview of this roster mixed with Todd Golden's coaching right after this. First, I'm going to talk to you guys about BetOnline because March Madness is over. MLB is here. NBA playoffs are here. Devin Booker kind of just threw a wrench in everything with that hammy injury. We'll see what happens with that one. The Pels are kind of doing their thing over there. But I've been using BetOnline for years. And I couldn't be happier with it. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports information. It's got so much, not just basketball, football, baseball, not even just sports. You can bet on reality TV, award shows, politics, the Dow Jones, aliens invading, Russian table tennis. You can bet on everything with BetOnline. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn all about the trends and actions. Check out BetOnline. It's where the game starts. To wrap up today's show, we are taking a complete overview of this Florida Gators men's basketball team. And just looking at the roster, I think it's much improved, primarily because the top talent is improving from having more time together and having a better coach. And look, I'm not saying Todd Golden is amazing. Todd Golden could be average, and he would be a better fit for the Florida Gators than Mike White was. I don't think Todd Golden will be average. I think he will be good, but that's primarily because I trust analytics, I respect the analytics, and I vibe with them. If they work, they work, and that's all that matters. So I will say that I think Todd Golden will work out here. I'm a big fan of analytics, big supporter there. But I think that we will also see things where previous starters could become depth players more than anything else. Like I mentioned Myron Jones before. I don't think he's going to be starting at the point guard spot because while there will be multiple ball handlers on this team, I don't think Myron Jones is going to be is going to be trusted because the point guard will still be the primary ball handler. And I don't think Myron Jones will be trusted to do that because he's proven that he is wildly inefficient, turns the ball over a ton, takes a ton of bad shots. And I think that's kind of what was a nail in the coffin for the Gators last year is having Myron Jones and Tyree Appleby both on the team, both as your primary ball handlers, and both of them were just such streaky players where that really kind of killed them. I think Myron Jones will find a lot of success as a catch and shoot shooter with Todd Golden's offense, but I don't think he'll be a primary ball handler. I think he might be the sixth man because I think we got Kowacie Reeves is going to step up to the starting five. Again, none of this is etched in stone except Colin Castleton starting. But I think Kowacie Reeves will step up as a starter here. I think he's going to be a superstar in this offense. And so I'm a big fan of that. Niles Lane, I think, is someone that will play a good deal. Not sure if he's a starter. He might be sixth or seventh, depending on what happens with Myron Jones and everything else really in front of him. But it's something that I'm certainly interested to see. We've got to replace all the minutes from Tyree Appleby, all the minutes from Anthony DeRucci, all the minutes, or the very few minutes from Gat Keck. And then we've also got Denzel Aberdeen coming in. Denzel Aberdeen and Trey Bonham, I think, would be a fantastic spot at point guard. I think you look at Denzel Aberdeen, you look at Trey Bonham, and you go, okay, Bonham probably starting, Denzel Aberdeen as the backup one. Then you got Kowacie Reeves as the starting two guard, and you've got Myron Jones as the backup two. You've got probably Alex Fudge, and Niles Lane as the starting forwards, and then you've got Will Richard backing him up. You've got, anybody backing them up really. CJ Felder could be the backup four, and then you got Colin Castleton at the five, and Jason Jatobo as the backup five. So you've got Bonham, you've got Fudge, you've got Reeves, you've got Lane, and you've got Castleton. To me, that's a solid starting five. I think that's a great starting five, really. Colin Castleton working the post, everybody else kind of catch and shoot players, or everybody else kind of in a catch and shoot role with backdoor cuts for guys like Alex Fudge and Niles Lane, I think that's great. I think that platoon is a pretty good backup. I'm not sure how deep that we're going to go on the bench with Todd Golden. I'm not sure how much Todd Golden's going to look at this team and go, I can go 10 deep, I can go 11 deep, or if we're going to be like, hey, we're going 8. Obviously, that's going to probably matter on a game-to-game basis. The spacing for this roster looks just significantly better than it did last season. That's something that we're going to have a serious emphasis on in Gainesville this year. So I'm very excited for that, because that was something where last year I said it. You have Colin Castleton at the high post, 2 shooters at the wings, and like it's just like, what is going on? And then you have the other 2 guys in the low post. And it's like, what is happening in this offense right now? It just seemed like they were just going with nonsense at some points. And ball handling ability is going to be a big change, because Myron Jones is not going to be a primary ball handler anymore, thankfully. Tyree Appleby, not going to be a primary ball handler because he's not on the team at all, which I'm not going to say thankfully from, but I will say that turnovers are going to be cut down significantly with those 2 guys not being the primary ball handlers. And that's something that we're looking at with Todd Golden, is that we're going to be an efficient team, and efficiency is king in so many areas. So I can't wait for this. I don't know what it was. That lineup that I just said, I legitimately just threw it together. But I dig it. I dig that little lineup that I just threw out there. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast. We'll be back tomorrow with more on your Florida Gators. Now make your second listen Locked On NFL Draft. Ryan Tracy and former NFL cornerback Eric Crocker bring the NFL Draft to life every day with insight and analysis on college football prospects and NFL front offices. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olson. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. You can find all of my written work with Whole Nine Sports. That is WHOLENINE Sports, and I will see you all tomorrow.